Hello everybody, I hope all of you are doing great. Today we're going to be working on a project that it's called Mexican Cactus and it's going to look just like this. I hope you like it. What are we going to need? We're going to need a single piece of white paper, a pencil, an eraser, a black marker, and coloring material. Anything you have at home will work perfectly. Crayons, color pencils. Okay, let's start by learning something that we're gonna use a lot in this art piece, and that is pattern. What is a pattern? A pattern is a repetition of a specific visual element. We subconsciously enjoy looking at patterns because they embody a sense of harmony. For example, if here we have a dot, if we repeat that dot several times, it's gonna become a pattern. This happens with different elements. A line, if we repeat it several times, it's gonna become a pattern. You can make patterns out of pretty much everything. For example, 2 lines and an X. If we repeat those 2 lines and an X, 2 lines and an X, it's gonna become a visual line that is called a pattern. For example, here we have a semi-triangle or a upside down V, and if we repeat it, it's gonna become this beautiful pattern. A U, a single U is just a mark, a line. But if we make several U's, it's gonna become something that makes our drawings or our paintings a very harmonious element. We can even repeat it several times. For example, in here we have a spiral. Just a spiral can be something special, but if we do one spiral and another spiral and another spiral, it's gonna become a very decorative motif. We can make a pattern pretty much out of anything. Diagonal lines, curvy lines, zigzag lines. There are many ways you can make patterns. Here, I'm just building different kinds of patterns that you're going to be able to use on your cactus art piece. We can also use letters like W's, T's. In here, we see this wavy line. You can use patterns in empty spaces. For example, in here, I have squares. And you can use, for example, the line pattern or, for example, the U pattern. It's gonna make very beautiful compositions. I hope these examples of patterns serve you as a guideline for your cactus art piece or other art pieces you can use. Now that we have learned about patterns, let's start with our art piece. We're gonna grab our white piece of paper and we're gonna put it in a vertical position. We're gonna grab our pencil. Remember, draw light till you get it right. Let's start with the sun. I'm gonna make several circles, circular lines, very lightly, just in case I get it wrong, and also because I'm gonna be erasing some of those lines. So I'm gonna make these concentric circles. That is gonna be the sun. Now I'm gonna make the ground. I'm gonna make several curvy lines that are gonna look like a mountain. That is where our cactus is gonna sit. Now I'm gonna draw the big trunk of the cactus and 2 arms. One in the left and one in the right. Well, actually the opposite. One in the right and one in the left. Now I'm going to grab my black marker and I'm going to start outlining the lines that I just made. I'm going to start with the cactus. I'm starting with the cactus because all the lines that go behind the cactus are the ones that I'm going to erase, just so it looks that the cactus is on front of everything. Now I'm going to draw the mountain or the ground lines. And now, very carefully, I'm going to start doing the circles of the sun. I'm gonna be very careful because I don't want to go on top of the cactus. Why? Because the sun is behind the plant, okay? So if I draw the lines right behind the cactus, it's gonna look like it's on the background. So be very careful. Look very carefully where the cactus is at and draw those concentric circles. We don't draw in there, and voila! Here we have the outline of our art piece. Now I'm gonna get an eraser and erase all those pencil lines I'd made before. She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something about her features. You'll find her beauty goes much deeper once you get to meet. Now I'm gonna start drawing the patterns. I'm gonna grab my black marker and I'm gonna start dividing the cactus in different segments for each different pattern. So I'm drawing 3 vertical lines on the trunk of that cactus, and it's in each different space I'm gonna draw a different pattern. For my first pattern in the arm of this cactus, I'm gonna choose just horizontal lines. In the next space, I'm gonna make a dot, and by making several dots, it's gonna become a pattern. What can I do for the next one? I can do little zigzag lines. Now let's start with the patterns of the trunk. In the first one, I'm gonna make something simple, 2 horizontal lines and an X. Remember, you have to repeat it to become a pattern. So 2 lines and an X, 2 lines and an X, 2 lines and an X. I'm making my art piece like this, but you can choose the patterns you want. There are many kinds of patterns you can create. So make sure you're creative and use your own kind. Here, for example, I'm using 2 semicircles. We're gonna repeat this motif all through that space. Another pattern you can do is half a circle or circles with dots inside. The last piece or space of the trunk, I'm gonna fill it with spirals. Now we continue with the other arm of the cactus. I'm also doing linear patterns. See how big of a difference it makes to have just the normal empty cactus and the pattern cactus? It makes it so much beautiful. Okay, now that I'm done with the patterns, I'm gonna start coloring my cactus with green. Okay, I'm gonna speed up forward, but remember, you need to do this very slowly, carefully, taking good care of the details. Just remember, we're not in a hurry. We just want this to look very nice. Okay, now I'm gonna continue doing patterns for the sun and the sky. I'm starting with a very simple pattern with lines, and I'm gonna continue each space, each circle, with different kinds of lines. I'm speeding this process up. Remember, you can do your own patterns. Well, actually, it's not you can do, you should do your own patterns. Be creative, think of what kinds of lines you can make that can repeat themselves. You can do letters, you can do different shapes. And for the last piece, I'm doing just circles. Once I'm done drawing those patterns, I'm gonna start coloring. For the sky, I'm gonna use warm colors. You remember about warm colors and cool colors? Warm colors were yellows, oranges, reds. Those are the ones that are gonna be near the sun. Cool colors, in the other side, are the ones that I'm gonna use for the ground. And those are gonna be blues, purples, browns. Now that I finished painting the sky, I'm gonna go ahead, grab my black marker again, and draw the patterns for the ground. Again, be creative, use your own patterns. There are many kinds of patterns you can use. You can repeat some patterns if you want to. That will be totally okay. And once I finish drawing those patterns, I'm gonna color them with some cool colors.
Let's go to an art museum, I'll explain it at the coffee shop. I know you don't get it, but there's no need to fret it. It's like a gift, it's about the thought. Monet might be too much and Van Gogh might take a while. But thank you for coming, I know that you're trying to do anything to make me smile.
And ta-da! Here we have our beautiful pattern cactus. I really hope you enjoyed this craft and learned a little bit more about patterns. I will see you all next week. Bye!